Hello YouTube and welcome, my name is AliensGT and today we are doing a quick review of the new features on Bloons Tower Defense 5, which has recently introduced a co-op mode. Now for those of you who are living in the dark ages and don't know what co-op mode is, that basically means you can play with a second player, which for Bloons and tower defenses in general is not a very common feature. Now you might be wondering, how is a cooperative mode implemented into a game like Bloons? It's quite simple. You control one half of the field, your ally controls the other half. Now you can play it either online with your friend, or you can play it with a random person. Now, here's the positives. 1. The game runs relatively smoothly. Considering that Bloons runs quite slowly on my laptop anyway because my laptop is old, the frame rate is pretty decent, and the server generally holds up quite strong. However, there are a number of bad things about this game. I'm not going to list all the positives about Bloons in general. This is specific to the cooperative mode. If you're unaware of how Bloons as a game works, then I would suggest looking up a video about it or just playing it. It is your standard tower defense game. The negatives of the cooperative mode. 1 is that you do not have control over the round starting or the speed of the game. When I say you don't have control, what I mean is there's no definitive control. For example, you can't decide not to start a round. If your ally decides to click that start, you have to be ready for it, whatever the situation. And that can really screw you over. Because, for example, earlier in the game, I was trying to lay some towers, but I didn't have time to because the balloons were coming. Now, obviously, you can still lay you can still lay towers when the balloons come, but it lags up the game, makes it much harder to place accurately, and generally just isn't the time to be doing it. That's one of the main things that bugs me about it. However, there are a few more things that do upset me. For example, tower placement. Now this isn't anything to do with the lag. Obviously when you place a tower it takes a few seconds to generate it and bring it into the game, as well as upgrades. It takes a little while to actually apply. That's understandable with an online game. And do bear in mind this is browser based, so you can't expect the best connection in the world. However, my main issue is with where you can place your towers. Now, when I heard about the update, and it was through an email through the Bloons newsletter, I was very excited about it. However, as you can see here on the screen, there is a big problem. I was excited at the idea of being able to play with a friend, have us both control the battlefield, laying towers all over the place, tactically deciding who had the money to place a tower where and when. But no. Unfortunately, they've designed it so that you have half the battlefield each, and that's quite literal. You cannot place towers in your ally's half. It just doesn't work. Now, I presume this was some sort of concept as to prevent any sort of trolling, so that you can't just spam towers on all over the screen and ruin the game for them, because you can't sell or upgrade your allies' towers. And I understand that, but I would much rather have the option to play where I have access to the whole screen, because as much as there are 4 co-op maps that have been designed specifically for this update, I would like to be able to play this on all the different maps and have control of all the screen. Having a friend there should be a benefit, not a hindrance, and only having control of half the screen essentially halves your gameplay. It halves your involvement. Second thing it halves is your money. You don't get nearly as much money from popping balloons or from end of round bonus as you do when you're playing single player. What does this mean? You can do less. You personally. As a team, you can still do pretty much the same amount. However, where you've split the money between you and you can't interact with each other's towers, the towers are essentially getting half the funding, and you're having to buy double the towers. So instead of me being able to buy one wizard monkey and have that fully upgraded by round 20, we have several wizard monkeys and a spy monkey. One thing I will compliment the game on though is the fact it does have a chat feature, as I just showed you. The chat feature is really decent. It works perfectly well, and I recommend you do use it if you're playing with someone that you can't communicate with through Skype or some other communicative speech software. Overall, I would say this is a very cool feature, however, they made some serious mistakes in my opinion. Do bear in mind, this is all my opinion. If I were to suggest you play this, I would suggest you play it with a friend. The online random person feature just isn't enjoyable. Get a friend and play this game, because Bloons as a concept is great fun. My name has been AliensGT and I hope you've enjoyed this. Please remember to leave a like and click the subscribe button. Thank you.